Today on the Beginner Photography Podcast.
And I think everything in marketing can be harkened back to how car washes run their business. But it's so car washes, for half of the people that came through the door after they got their car wash, they handed them a punch card, and it's 10 punches, and then you get your 11th wash free. So here you go. Here's your card. So the next time you come back, you can start filling it up, and you'll get your 11th one for free. They did that to half the people. Then the other half, they gave them the punch card, and they already punched out 3 holes. They said, here you go. And your 11th car wash is going to be free. The percentage of people who had the punches, who actually completed that card versus those who didn't, was 80%. 80% of the people who got those 3 punches came back and got the full remaining 7 to get that 11th for free versus those who didn't. So punch their card, give them that credit, give them that excuse to come back and get that value.
Welcome to the Beginner Photography Podcast, where each week we interview the world's most interesting photographers to learn what it really takes to capture beautiful images and compelling stories so that you can start to do the same. I'm your host, Raymond Hatfield, and welcome back, photo friends. Welcome. Today we have returned guest Gavin Wade. Now, if you are new-ish to the podcast, Gavin Wade is a Southern California wedding photographer. He was shooting over 500 weddings when he recognized that there is this, huge gap in what he needed to give his clients an A+ experience delivering their photos and what was actually available. Now, again, I interviewed Gavin before, so you can check that out if you want to hear more about Gavin's story. But Gavin went on to then start and found CloudSpot, which today is my client delivery gallery of choice. Now, the thing is that here in 2022, CloudSpot is making a huge push, #empowering photographers. Now, since CloudSpot is made by photographers, they obviously have the insight into the things that we need most. What will make our lives better, easier, more profitable. So I invited Gavin onto the show today to talk about what does #empowering photographers look like and ultimately what that is going to mean for you. Now, you already know that I use and love CloudSpot. I recommend it to literally everybody in the Beginner Photography Podcast community. But while I was editing this interview, there were times where it sounded like, wow, I am just a walking CloudSpot ad. I can't stop talking about it. And, well, look, here's the thing. I have used other online client gallery services before I switched to CloudSpot. And since I've been with CloudSpot, I just haven't experienced a company, any photography company, any company, as dedicated to photographers and just giving them the best tools possible as CloudSpot is. And, actually, as a matter of fact, in this interview, Gavin shares of 2 things that they're releasing that I know will both earn me and you more money and save you time. And they're doing stuff like this all the time. So if it makes me sound like an ad, then, it's simply a testament to how much I value what CloudSpot does for us photographers, because I've seen other companies come along and, not care about us, but just the money and the product and monetizing off of photographers. And CloudSpot is not that. It is constant value. So that's why I can proudly say that I am a CloudSpot ambassador. I truly love what it is that they do and provide to us photographers, because I wholeheartedly believe in everything that they're doing for us. So if it sounds like an ad, I apologize. I just love them. I love them. That being said, this whole interview isn't just about CloudSpot. There are plenty of things that you are going to pick up, even if you're not on CloudSpot, about print sales, about just delivering the best experience that you can, and just how to achieve better goals as a photographer. So with that, let's go ahead and get on into this week's interview with Gavin Wade. Gavin, you stepped away from shooting weddings to found CloudSpot. But what's the old saying? It's you can take the man out of photography, but you can't take the photography out of the man. So I want to start with something really simple. I want you to tell me about a photo that you've taken recently that means a lot to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're always, once you have that eye, right? You can't turn it off, right? Like even we're just like on a walk with our kiddos and my wife will be like, oh, wow, look at the lighting over there. That's awesome. You know, like whatever it might be. Like we're just huge nerds, right? When it comes to those things. A photo that I've taken recently, quite honestly, I mean, and this may be blasphemous, but it's just sometimes those in-between moments that we just love and that we just latch onto for one reason or another, right? And you know, it wasn't a pro photo. I didn't have my Sony out. I didn't, you know, dial in the ISO and, you know, Kelvin temperature, whatever. I literally grabbed my phone, turned it around and snapped it. And it was just all of our kiddos this holiday weekend. And it was just, hey, you know what? Everyone was happy. You know, it's one of those rare moments, you know, everyone, like the stars all aligned, everyone's happy, everyone's healthy. Everyone's dressed up and we're like, you know, on our way to church or something. And we just grab a quick selfie underneath the shade of a tree. And quite honestly, like we cycle that through our digital picture frame and just seeing us together at this stage in life, like we're making some big life changes. It just was a great opportunity just to commemorate that. So, you know, already see it. It's already cycling through on my desk and my heart explodes every time I see it. So, yep.
Isn't that the best? I feel like oftentimes we as photographers, especially new photographers, have this feeling of weight of like, wait, well, I just bought this expensive camera and that we no longer take photos with our phones, but sometimes it is just those quick snapshots that really mean everything.
They do. But, you know, taking that into the pro, you know, putting my pro photographer hat on, you know, we shot, gosh, 500 something weddings in our career. And, you know, we all know, and we've all experienced clients coming back and saying, oh my gosh, I love that photo. And it's one that we almost even just threw out and never even gave them. Right. But for whatever reason, our clients latched onto this and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is everything. Right. And it's just something we're like, I don't get it. And it just speaks to that, you know, so much of what we do is technical, but also so much of it is not. So much of it is just right time, right moment, right people, right? And just allowing ourselves to be able to have that opportunity to capture it for them adds 90% of the value so oftentimes than not.
Oh, that's a great sentiment right there. That is so true. I want to kind of shift gears a little bit here and talk more about CloudSpot because I know that you haven't been shooting weddings, that you've been focused on CloudSpot for quite a while. But as you said before that, you know, shooting 500 plus weddings. From that wedding photographer perspective, I want to know, what was it that was missing from the way that you were delivering photos to clients that really made you leap into such an endeavor of creating your own solution? That sounds daunting to me, but you've done a great job at it.
You know, it's naivety is a wonderful thing. Ignorance is bliss. So often than not, like back then we're like, oh, like how hard can it be, right? And we kind of leapt off the cliff and figured we'd build our parachute on the way down. So that's in a nutshell how CloudSpot started. But it really, like most things, stems from a frustration and a pain point, right? Like, and for us in our business, we were shooting 50 weddings a year, and that all had an engagement session with it. So that was 100 shoots a year. There's 52 weeks in a year. So like you could kind of get a feel for our editing backlog, our workflow backlog, and just how often we were mashing that shutter. Just from a culling perspective, like, oh my gosh, right? If I didn't have my wife, first and foremost, never would have been possible. But because she's our editor, she's our designer. And in a normal photographer workflow, like that's where things normally bottleneck. It's the editing, it's the culling, all that kind of stuff. Things were bottlenecking on me. And I was like the techie dude responsible for delivering the photos, creating our client experience pretty much post photo shoot. And that's where I was bashing my head against the wall. It's like, there wasn't an experience that where, you know, when you're building your business, you spend a lot of time and effort crafting this brand, crafting this client experience, the way that you want clients to feel and how you treat them, to book them, to get through the shoot and everything like that. But on the tail end, like after the editing is done, so often we just kind of go, oh, like the hard part's done. Here you go. Here's your photos. Have a nice life. Essentially, it's kind of that mental like mindset that we have. Like, oh, it's done. I did it. Like, here we go, guys. Like, you know, the skies are supposed to part. Like your clients are supposed to fall over themselves, like complimenting you on your work. And like you expect them to refer 1,001 people to you just because you've delivered them, right? But for us, we were like, look, if we spend all of this time crafting this experience for our clients on the front end, we need to be spending just as much time, attention, and effort on the back end, not just for our clients and for continuing that experience, which we hope results in more business, but also when it comes to marketing our work to our industry. For weddings, especially, like how many businesses are dependent on our photos for their business to be successful. It was a question that just flew over our heads for years, embarrassingly enough, before we just got down to be like, oh my gosh, like take care of your industry and your industry will take care of you, right? Your vendors, the people who are dependent on you to be successful, lean into them, lean into those relationships. And that is the true recipe for longevity in a business that's strictly referral based. Because while we like to think our clients will stand on the street corners and proclaim how awesome we are to everyone that they meet, there is a small window of opportunity where that is the case, but then life moves on. So then how do we prevent ourselves from having to hop back on that hamster wheel and find more clients over and over and over again? And the answer, which was obvious to us after we did it, but it wasn't at the onset, was, love on our vendors, love on the people who, we work with week in, week out. And who doesn't want to work with their friends? So they'll refer you as long as you put their needs first.
That is so great. And I'm with you right there I remember that, I think it was like my second or my third wedding that I shot, like all on my own. And afterwards, that bride, I mean, like you said, she was the one standing on the street corner, and she told all of her friends about me. And I think I booked like 8 weddings off of her, and it was phenomenal. But the issue was, with that being so early on in my career, I almost expected that to happen every other time after that. So that second year that I was in business, I only shot like those 8 weddings because I wasn't putting in the work, like you said, working with vendors and helping them out. And in the end, that came to bite me in the butt. It was definitely a slow process to grow from there. So I love that. But when it comes to CloudSpot, I know that I've been using CloudSpot for the past 2 years now, I believe, which is insane. And it's so funny because I feel like oftentimes we take simple tools and we just take them for granted, right? We just think this is what they are. I can use it however I can use it. But it seems like every, month or 2 months, I get an email from CloudSpot saying, oh, we have a new update. We have a new update. We're doing this now. We're doing this amazing thing. And I think to myself, like, wow, this is so cool. All these new tools coming my way. But here in 2022, CloudSpot is really pushing to be able to empower photographers. And obviously, as you said before we started recording, we're all in this together. Like, we're all doing this, but the way that CloudSpot's doing it is obviously a little bit different. So can you tell me, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like to empower photographers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in this, from the same pain and frustration that I started this company off of, is the same thing that drives us and guides us today in terms of that whole kind of phrase, empowering photographers. There are so many layers to that, right? For us, since we're a technology company, obviously our goal is to help you buy back some of your time, right? And in your workflow, especially like after that editing is done, how can you continue that amazing brand experience? Something that actually is a no-brainer for clients to use, to download images, a way for you to earn more revenue in your business by selling prints and products with no commission. So we don't take a cut from that, but yet we fulfill everything automatically for you, such that you don't have to do the work, but you can still provide that opportunity for your clients, to serve your clients in that way, and for them to buy things and for you to earn more. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. And then kind of getting into the nitty gritty of it, just in terms of how the platform is created, not just in terms of delivering images to clients, but how you can create vendor galleries with just a couple of clicks, and it doesn't duplicate your storage, so you don't have to pay more just to be able to do that. Or a way to send one image or a few images or an instant download link in the first email that someone gets, just to take the whole grandma proof thing to the next level when it comes to downloading and delivering photos. So it's all of those things that, once you've been shooting for a while, you figure, okay, it's like 30 seconds there, 45 seconds there, a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes there, or, context switching to okay, I have to go back and do all of this now because I just have to, right? It's all those little things that, since this platform was built by photographers, we get it, that those things add up. And, at the end of the day, you only have so many hours anyways. And our hope is that you don't spend it all behind a computer, but you spend that in building relationships or spending that time where it matters most to you. So in terms of empowering photographers this year, yes, we have some actual features that are coming, but we never talk about features as a company. We talk about the value that we're going to be able to add to our photographers, because we don't even lift a finger on anything that we build before we hear back from our photographers and get that input and that feedback on how it can help them be more successful. So that empowering photographers is just as much of a marketing slogan that is for an internal team, lighthouse statement for us in terms of what we build and what we bring out there.
So I know that, when it comes to when we take the 30,000 foot overview of what does it take to be a working photographer, right? We need to do the shoot. I guess we need to find a client, right? We need to do the shoot, and then we have to deliver it. And then we can kind of break it down from there, right? When it comes to delivering the shoot, what would you say, what are the three most important aspects of that client experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, you invest so much into creating that brand. It needs to be a branded experience. You'll hit a ceiling, in my opinion. You'll hit a ceiling. You'll hit a price threshold. You'll hit just some type of. You'll have this feeling where like, I can't quite break through this if you're just continuing to use third-party tools like a Dropbox or Google Drive, things that were meant to be like global universal solutions, but not targeted specifically for your profession or for your type of client or for your type of delivery service. So I'd say make sure that it's a branded experience such that your client feels like they're taken care of from start to finish. There's a level of professionalism. There's a level of credibility that whether consciously or unconsciously gets added onto that once they receive something from you, right? And I think no matter how many years, gosh, even the last year that I was shooting Wade's, I still had this insecurity. It was like, oh, do I feel legit? Do I feel like what they've spent on me is now justified via the experience that they're receiving? How can I do better? How can I add more value to that, right? Making sure that it's a brand experience is a huge component. And we can talk about branding in a whole nother episode. Like branding itself is just a huge undertaking. And I have some popular or unpopular opinions in the sense of like, branding is becoming such a huge component of successful photography businesses. It's becoming less and less a technical, like, oh, my photos are better, so you should book me, right? Like that whole thing is just going by the wayside. It's really about that experience. It's really about their client connecting with you, the creative, the person. And that starts first and foremost when they hit your website, see your brand, and how they experience that from end to end. So that's just high level. That's a super important part. Second part, convenience factor. Like you as a photographer don't want to be customer support to every single person who clicks and views a gallery or needs to get access to images. So, the phrase that I used earlier was grandma proof. It needs to be intuitive, easy, simple, such that like when it comes to delivering photos that even your grandma could do it. And we love grandma and we love our clients, but just sometimes, and we've all had those where they just can't figure out how to do it. So
yes,
finding tools and solutions and creating an experience that allows it to be such that they're not texting you at 9:30 at night saying, hey, how do I do this, that, or the other? You need platforms that help you in that end. And so that's just as important. And then I would also say a big component that I think has been overlooked and gets overlooked really quite too often, especially by newer photographers, and I get why, but it's allow the tools that you're using to help buy back your time and also help you earn more through every single shoot that you deliver. And I get that sales, like we as photographers, we as creatives, we kind of avoid that word like the plague, right? Like sales, like, oh, I don't want to sell somebody. I don't want to like make them feel like I'm selling them or whatever it might be. But the truth of the matter is, especially when it comes to like print and product sales, is that spoiler alert, your clients are spending money on prints and products. They're just not spending them with you. So you need to give them that permission, give them that convenience, and give them that excuse to spend it with you because they trust you. They already know you. They don't want to go somewhere else to do it. They just have no other option. And so we feel that there's so much hesitancy, and we have the data to back it up, that a lot of photographers just be like, oh, I'm not quite sure what to price things at. I'm not quite sure how to do this. I'm not quite sure how to set it up. And so on the company side, we offer completely free setup calls to help you get your store up and running so you can start earning that revenue. But at the same time, I would say, don't let paralysis stop you from just going for it. Like flip that toggle, activate your store, give your clients that excuse to buy with you, and then figure it out as you go.
Are you, I'm sure you are you familiar with the 80-20 rule?
100%. Yep.
Okay. So I think it's funny for those who, I guess, who don't know, it's that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And kind of what you were saying there about sales and prints, it's like we have to do these things. We have to do sales. And I think that sales is the 20% that drive the 80% of the results because like it's not taking photos. Like that's what we're being paid for, but you have to get that sale in the first place. So we need to set up a store, right? We need to turn on that toggle. But on top of that, how can we make more sales? Like, where are photographers failing when it comes to, after they turn on their store, making sales?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going to throw another phrase at you and see if you've heard of this. Have you heard of the field of dreams ideology or
The
the fallacy?
if they build it, or if you build it, they will come. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's like that in software. It's like that in a lot of things, right? So it's this fallacy that, okay, if I just flip that toggle and turn on the ability to sell, that they're just going to come flooding through, right? I've built it. Now the sales will come, right? So not true in 99.9% of the cases, right? So how photographers can help ensure success specifically with sales, like after they deliver the photos, is you need to start seeding that sale in your very first meeting that you have. You need to start setting that expectation of, hey, this is the experience you're going to get with us. And this is what most of our clients do. And this is how we're going to help you and how we're going to serve you in this way. And it's, again, we're so adverse to like sales, right? But take a step back. This isn't sales. What we're doing, because we already know that they're going to be spending that money elsewhere or doing these things or want something on their wall, what's keeping them from doing that? Oftentimes it's uncertainty, insecurity, curiosity. Like there could be so many things that hold a particular person, let's say a bride, back from just sales. So what you need to be doing is kind of being ahead of time, thinking, what are the things that this person who wants to buy from me is questioning or concerned about or is fearing, right? They might fear that it's going to be a tough experience. They might fear that they're not sure what size could work for their wall. They have a wall, they just don't know how they can make sure they get the right thing to fit it, right? They're not sure how the best way to buy is. They're not sure what the quality is going to be. They're not sure if you are actually even going to allow them to do this at the onset, right? All these things that are swirling around in their heads while they have a wedding to plan on top of all of it, which is probably something they've never done before, is all kind of where you need to seed that sale in the meeting. You need to start knocking down every single one of those barriers of hesitation, curiosity, or concern, especially as it relates to sales, but just in relation to the whole experience with you as their photographer in general. But that's where you start, and then you reinforce them every step along the way to help those sales come through at the end.
So I understand that, you go to that first, consultation or whatever. You're there, you're talking with them, and you're trying to seed these ideas. But how can we do that? Like, because to me, the first time that I remember trying to do something like this, it was with something easy like an album, right? Like, okay, a wedding album, everybody's heard of this. But am I literally trying to push 5x7s and 16x20s at that first meeting, or is it a little more subtle than that?
Personally, it's more subtle than that. For me, at least, what feels natural and organic for me to bring these types of things up. Where I usually tend to see this part of the sales process is when we talk about the types of moments that we love capturing, we talk about the types of photos that we lean towards. We talk about the types of things that our creative eyes are drawn towards, right? And I used to always say something along the lines of, because it's true, like, family portraits oftentimes are the things that we as creatives are just like, oh my gosh, like, you call them the grip and grins, right? You got to run through it. Give me a list. Tell me, Aunt Ruth, Uncle Johnny, like whoever it might be, like, let's just get this done and over with and rock through it. Really, those are photos that are ordered the most often, not by the clients, but by everybody else who gets that gallery shared with them. And so a small example of, what I told them was like, hey, look, when we do these family portraits, we know maybe you, the bride, are like not super stoked on taking up your cocktail hour to do these, but it means so much to every single person who traveled that distance to be with you and to be in that photo. So what we do is we know that you're going to buy some of these as gifts, for Christmas. You're gonna share this with mom, and mom's gonna want these on the mantle. She's gonna want it in the Christmas card. She's gonna want these things, right? And see how I'm like intentionally talking about all the places that they're gonna be purchasing these moments and using them. Not just, hey, you want 5x7s, we give you 5x7s, but you connect it to that emotional tie back of like, hey, these are all the ways that they're going to be used, not just by you, but by your loved ones. And we're gonna make that possible for you, right? And this is how we approach it. And then it also ties a just click of a shutter to an emotional moment, time, and place of memory for all the other people who are standing right there next to you. So just a small example.
No, I love what you said, because I do a similar thing at wedding, where you talked about the grip and grins and how they're not any fun. And and yet they're still the most purchased prints. And I found that a few years ago because I would just try to rush through those as fast as possible because I didn't enjoy them. I know that the bride was just like, yeah, whatever, we got to take these photos. But a few years ago, I started, and I guess going back to the 80-20 principle, I applied the 80-20 principle to the 80-20 principle, making this the 64-4 principle. But it was where I would create the couple a gallery before their wedding, and then I would write down the URL on like a business card, and then I would give it to family members or, you know, people on the dance floor at the wedding, so that when I would take their photo and then they'd want to see where it is, I would give them that URL. And then after obviously with CloudSpot, you can collect email addresses. And then once the gallery was published, I would send everybody an email saying, hey, guess what? You know, your dancing photos are ready. Come check them out. And then I would include some sort of coupon code in there because, again, sales is very important to photographers. And I found that even though all of those photos to me are just like extra, I could now like make more money after an event that I was already paid for. And it's like that bonus was huge. So that to me was the 4% that made up 64% of the results. I think I want to know it because I'm always curious from other working photographers. For you, like what was I don't want to say the biggest source of profit in your business, but where would you find most people would, I guess, what sorts of products would people purchase the most? Would it be those 5x7s or would it be full albums? Because okay, I'm going to make this question even more complicated than it already is. I apologize. There's a lot of options in the CloudSpot store, right? To be able to buy for prints and product. What do you find to be the most popular so that we can trim down the size of our store?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, I guess, a little bit on some of the data here. But okay, and we're always working to add more products to the store. We're actually adding something tomorrow. In fact, we'll talk about a little bit later. But and I think having a wide breadth of options to offer to your clients to allow you to have a fully, tooled up store in terms of options is amazing, is fantastic. It helps project you as, that professional. It allows everyone to have those options of buying what fits well for them, and you can assist them in that. But looking at the data, what do people order, right? What do 99%, let's call it 98, let's be generous, 98% of everything that is ordered through our print partner labs, through all of the galleries we offer, albums, canvases, metal prints, you name it, all those types of things, 98% is 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s. That's it, period, the end. So if anything, and again, those are the things that fill the frames, those are the things that get put on the fridge, those are the things that get hung on the wall, that is the bulk of what is ordered through our system. And that's just what the data tells us, right? So there you go, take that for what it's worth. But in terms of what's most often ordered, those are the three sizes.
Okay, now I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into this because I find that fascinating. So 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s, right? Why would any client decide to purchase any of those from us photographers when they can go to Walmart or Costco and get all of those for 19 cents?
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to the service. It comes down to the convenience. Is a $5 hamburger from McDonald's? I'm not equating our work to $5 hamburgers, but just think of it this way: what people spend their money on for the sake of convenience. Let's go that route, right? $5 hamburger from McDonald's. How much do you pay DoorDash to get it actually to your door when it's all said and done? What have you actually spent, right? And why do people do that? Why in the world? You can run down, and there's a McDonald's on almost every corner, yet you will pay someone from DoorDash to go and grab it for you and bring it to your doorstep. Nice little cold, McDonald's hamburger, and you'll pay 3 times, 4 times the price for it, right? Convenience trumps so many of those factors and hesitations. And it's one of those like devil on your shoulder, like, oh, I'm not going to offer 4x6s because they can go to Walmart and get this. A, quality from Walmart is not going to be what pro level labs are going to deliver your clients. B, you don't get to have your hand in that experience for them. And C, you don't even have the ability or, to upsell them as far as allowing them to order more things. Like 4x6s, 5x7s are the bread and butter, but they are not the all to end all. Like those are like the gateway drug to products and services that you can offer to your clients, like albums, like wall art, like all of those types of things. And we see a lot of photographers, will sell those types of prints and products, but they'll say, hey, look, anything that you order through me, yes, it's going to be at a marked up price, but A, it's through a pro level lab. So you won't be able to get access to these, which is printed on like, Fuji archival paper that lasts 100 years. But B, anything that you order, and we've seen people do this, like I'll fully retouch or I'll, edit and adjust or slightly tweak before it goes to print to ensure that what you've ordered is going to print in the best possible way. So we allow our photographers to get those sales, but it doesn't instantly go to the lab. We let them take a look at it. We let them swap out the image. We let them slightly adjust the crop just in case like, someone's head got cut off accidentally or whatever in those, 5x7s. And then you can send it to the lab. So still a hands-off experience, but with a high touch in terms of ensuring your clients have the best possible outcome. So that's what I say on that.
Now, you said the word upsell there, and that's a word that I think once you've been in business for a while, you like you like to hear. How are photographers upselling, 4x7s, or I'm sorry, 4x6s, 5x7s? Like how are using upsells to make more print sales?
Yeah, I think more than anything, the biggest barrier is getting your clients into that buying mindset, right? Getting them into that gallery to do something beyond just scroll. And so, I'm sure you do this. I know we used to do this. It's providing print credit, or it's providing a discount. It's providing some type of action incentive for your clients to get in there and start doing the dang thing, right? And adding something to their cart, right? So, if you give them $20 of print credit, what's that actually going to cost you right after your markup? But, what's the value of getting someone already adding things to, I added 5 more prints than I should have, but you know what? I really need these for X, Y, and Z. Like people are already thinking through uses and gifts that they're going to be able to do this. So while we may think that we have to upsell them, all we really need to do 9 times out of 10 is just get them in that zone and they will upsell themselves. And so it's just what excuses, what opportunities are you going to be giving them in order to do that?
What I was just thinking in my head, I wonder if as a surprise, because if your markup is good enough, say a $20 print credit should only cost you about $4 or $5 in actual costs. I wonder if, and maybe you have any sort of data, I'd love to hear this, if like surprising a client with say a $20 or a $40 print credit can go on to produce larger sales and actually be profitable. Do you have anything on that?
I mean, we know just by hearing feedback from our community that this works extremely well. Whether your client knows that they have the print credit going in, whether it's built into their package, we know some people do that, right? So like, hey, included with this package is $100 in print credit. Like you said, the hard costs of that are going to be almost negligible against the package price, but they feel like they have this thing that they need to use. An example that I've used in the past, and I just heard a story of, and it's so wild, but it's the psychology of sales. Is there was this car wash, and I think everything in marketing can be harkened back to how car washes run their business. But it's so car washes, for half of the people that came through the door after they got their car wash, they handed them a punch card, and it's 10 punches, and then you get your 11th wash free. So here you go, here's your card. So the next time you come back, you can start filling it up, and you'll get your 11th one for free. They did that to half the people. Then the other half, they gave them the punch card, and they already punched out 3 holes. They said, here you go, and your 11th car wash is going to be free. The percentage of people who had the punches, who actually completed that card versus those who didn't, was 80%. 80% of the people who got those 3 punches came back and got the full remaining 7 to get that 11th for free versus those who didn't. So punch their card, give them that credit, give them that excuse to come back and get that value.
Punch their card. Oh, I got now my mind is racing. Like, what are all the things that could be done with that? That is so smart. When it comes to the sales, when it comes to the storefront, I know, in fact, the other day inside the Beginner Photography Podcast Facebook community, somebody was having questions. How do we set up a store? How do we get going with that? What sorts of things should I offer? And as I was kind of saying earlier, there is a million different options, from different papers to different finishes to different sizes, obviously. I want to know, is the best approach to throw it all out there and let the client choose, or is it to really have a small set of items and that's at the end?
There are various stances on this. My personal opinion is you need to give them as many opportunities to spend money with you as possible, such that it makes sense, right? So Am I going to offer my high-end wedding clients coffee mugs and mouse pads? No. Am I going to offer them the ability to have a 16 by 20 framed print or a 10 by 10 framed print? It doesn't matter to me. I don't know the space they need to fill on their wall, right? Which is another opportunity for me to help them and ask that question and serve them in that way. But in terms of like, oh, I only do these sizes, but not these sizes because I have some philosophical stance on why this should or should not exist. You know what? I'd say give your clients the opportunity. When it comes down to paper types or paper finishes, there's a brand aspect to that. Like, oh, okay, I'm a fine art photographer. So these types of fine art papers really, follow through with my brand identity. Totally get it. But for those things that are 4x6s, 5x7s, very few clients, we photographers, because we have that eye, we can know, but very few clients will know the difference between a luster, glossy, deep matte, whatever it might be. Sure, offer it because maybe your customer might have the option or opportunity, but sometimes freedom from choice can go a long ways when it comes to some of those finer point details that at the end of the day, when it's in a frame, when you're standing 10 feet away, you really won't be able to tell the difference on. So, I kind of leave it up to them, but we as a company want to offer as much as we can.
Sure. And yeah, I think that makes sense. And as you said, I guess it really does depend on everybody's different business type and what it is that they're trying to accomplish. As if somebody's a fine art photographer, they're going to have a whole different set of offerings than somebody who's probably just shooting, high volume sports or even weddings. So I love that.
Right. But you can't let that paralyze you. And that's the fine line there, right? It's like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be, so I'm just not going to do it. Okay. If you're finding yourself having that conversation in your head, then that's a signal that you just need to do it. Get data, get feedback, ask your clients who bought those prints. Hey, what did you think about it? Right? Like, what was the experience? Like, how did that turn out? Right? That's not only showing you as an amazing service provider, but it also gets you data and can get you information on how to best serve the next client and what you offer them.
Perfect. As I was saying earlier, when it comes to CloudSpot, I feel like I'm getting emails all the time about new amazing features being introduced. You said that there's one coming tomorrow that I hope we can talk about. But I want to know, when it comes to what CloudSpot currently has available, what do you find that photographers are talking the most about? What feature?
There are a few. Thankfully. One of the ones that we just launched at the tail end of last year, which is busy season, and I get it, a lot of photographers have not caught it, but a huge point of feedback that we were getting from folks was, there's a pain point in my business that's not related to delivering photos, but it's related to marketing my photos. And that is when it came to social media, Instagram, showing up on Facebook, getting your work out there, tagging the right vendors, getting that into your workflow such that it's not a huge, departure from your, oh, I'm editing, I'm delivering. And then, oh yeah, like I remembered a week and a half later, I got to go and do the hokey pokey of finding a photo to post on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Which, admittedly, I didn't do as much as I should have in our business because it just felt like such a disjointed, workflow of going and grabbing it, like airdropping it to my phone, then typing the caption on Instagram, and then the app crashes and I lose everything. And I just throw my phone against the wall and say, I'll do it next week, but I actually don't. And it's just one of those things, but we know we need to show up. It's just not enough hours in the day to do it right, especially with the tools that exist. So we said, look, let's dive into that. Let's get more information. Let's see how we can help photographers be successful in our platform and empower them to share more on social media without having to actually be there mashing the button every single time, because we need to have lives and we spend too much time scrolling on our devices anyways, right? So what we did is we built out two huge things. One was called our social captions feature. So, we said, hey, photographers are more apt to get things ready for social media if it's already in the spot where they're managing their photos and things for their clients anyways. So what we did is on our web-based or on our mobile-based application, photographers, after they upload things to their collections, they can go through and they can earmark certain photos as they're scrolling and go, oh, look, that's one I want to use on social. That's one I want to use on Facebook. And you can actually craft your caption for that particular image for any of those platforms and save them right there on your CloudSpot dashboard, such that if you want to go back on your phone and simply, tap to download that image, you can copy that text to your, device's clipboard, swipe over to Instagram, paste it, and done deal, right? If it crashes, it doesn't matter. You just paste it again. So we tackled that, fear and that opportunity first. And we already saw that saving people tons and tons of time. Just the ability to be able to focus on that when you're managing photos anyways is huge. You don't have to like deliver the photos and then come back and then search through hard drives and try and pick things out. You're already in that zone. So might as well, spend the extra 30 seconds and queue up everything from that particular shoot that you want to post on social. Now, the next question is, okay, now that I've got all these things that I want to post on social, how do I do it? Do I still have to do it manually every single time? Or there's got to be a better way. And so what we did is, and this was years in the making, I kid you not, like years, we partnered with one of the world's leading social media scheduling apps called Plan. And we built an integration with them. And they're a desktop-based application as well, such that photographers can import their CloudSpot images directly into Plan, right? Never even touch their phone. Not only will it import the images that they choose, and you can batch select them, but it will import also the captions that you've saved with those images. So they're now in this social media scheduling and planning application without you having to upload anything or type out anything. And then all you have to do is you can organize your grid on your Instagram account, for example, and you just say, hey, this is what I want this one to go live, that one, that one, that one. And you can schedule out a month of your entire social media calendar and never touch your phone. So
and that is
huge.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, amazing time saver for anybody who's never scheduled anything on social media. I know for me, and I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older every single day, but it's like I'm enjoying social media less and less. So the less time that I can spend on it and still get a return out of it is very, very important. So to be able to do that and to have it all in one space is very cool. And nobody else is doing that. Which brings me to my next question here, which is like, why? Like you started as a place to deliver photos to clients. Is this part of the Empowering Photographers campaign? Like, why would you branch out and start working on, helping photographers schedule their social media posts?
Well, because we are photographers. Like, we get that is a pain, right? And we know that, half, or I would say even less than half of marketing your business is with your actual clients, right? That emotional window we talked about. It's marketing to your industry. And why do we post on social? We post to attract our ideal clientele, right? So that we either attract or repel them as soon as they hit our account, they discover us. We hashtag things, let the algorithm do its thing, but we also need to tag the vendors or the people that we work with in order to make that shoot a success. And so, marketing to your industry, tagging those people, that's a part of building those relationships with those folks and showing them, hey, look, I show up when we work together and I put in the effort to give you credit and to help spread the word about what we can do together to deliver, an amazing shoot for our clients. And so not only are you helping your business and attract your clients, but you're also fostering those relationships and helping those relationships with your vendors grow at the same time. So, I mean, it's not just hey, look at this cool photo I took. There is intentionality and strategy behind going through and posting on social nowadays. And it's largely, in fact, for your industry.
Yeah, that's a thought that I hadn't, I guess, connected before. It's all about, again, helping everybody who's in your industry. And that's a great way to do that. It's not just, hey, look at my photos. Like, I think a lot of, I don't know, maybe I'm just jaded in the fact that that's kind of how I see a lot of social media. But you're right. I mean, a lot of it is we got to help those in our industry. Now, this, I have to ask, I can't let you allude to something new coming to CloudSpot and then me not ask about this. So are you willing to spill some beans here?
Yeah, I'll give you the one that's dropping tomorrow, and I'll give you the one that's dropping in a few weeks. How about that? So just FYI, you're going to get a couple emails from us here pretty soon.
They're always welcome.
All right, awesome. Good deal. Okay, so coming, software is never 100% like, oh, it's coming tomorrow. But as far as we can tell, coming this week is in the store, we're going to allow photographers to offer cards, custom lay flat cards to their clients, not only just to buy certain designs, but your clients can buy and choose from hundreds of designs and then customize those cards, whether it be holiday cards, Valentine's cards, graduation cards, baby announcement cards, you name it. We have built out a card design tool, just like we did with our albums. We've now done this with cards with White House, our partner lab. And now your clients can truly create beautiful foil stamped, different shaped cards with their photos that you captured for them. And you can offer this at a markup and they're automatically fulfilled. And it beats the heck out of Minted or any of those other like Snapfish type of things. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I'm not even kidding. I was literally just saying to my wife the other day, I wish there was an easier way for me to be able to save the dates to my clients, because this is something that I offer. But when I come up with a design, it's like I have to take screenshots of this other website and then send it. You've saved me a ton of time right here. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this. And once again, just proof that that you are committed to helping photographers. And I promise to everybody listening, I had no idea that that was coming, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna go out there and tell my wife, and she's gonna be like, "You're kidding. We were just talking about this the other day." That's amazing. Okay.
Yep, it's coming. And even from like self-addressing envelopes, or even uploading a CSV, allowing your clients to upload a CSV file, you can print even the recipient addresses on all these beautiful envelopes. So it's literally just a done for you service that you can offer for clients to celebrate any occasion. Super awesome.
That is amazing. I'm so excited for this. Sorry, I had to write down some notes right there. Like, okay, start getting ready, start coming up with like cool new coupons and stuff. Okay, and then what was thing number 2 there? I can't let you go.
Okay, all right. So this is another one that's been in the works for a while, and it's never been done before. Up to this,
but that's like everything with CloudSpot. CloudSpot loves to do things that have never been done before. This is why I love you guys.
Well, this is something that up to this point has only been available from $1 trillion businesses and to their clients. And that's trillion with a T, not even a B. And we're bringing this to allow photographers to offer through their business. And it's related to sales still, and it's related to products. So what we're doing is for prints and for canvases, if you're selling it through one of our print partner labs, we are now adding, like let's say they're going through and they're checking out and they say, okay, I've selected this photo, I've selected this canvas size, but especially with wall art, there's this like, well, is it going to fit? Is this going to work? Is this going to really be truly what I'm hoping it will be in this space that I've already kind of earmarked for it when I'm buying these larger products? And as photographers, we can sometimes be so disjointed from that process, and we want to be able to serve our clients in a better way, but they're used to shopping online. So what we're adding for these particular products is right above the add this to my cart button in your store with CloudSpot. The button above it is going to say, view this in my space. And so what we're going to be offering is augmented reality previews of prints and canvases, but not just a general canvas. It will be the photo that your client selected at the size that they selected. They press a button on their phone and they will literally point it at their wall, and it will boom, pop right against the wall in perfect to the millimeter accuracy. And they can walk around it, literally see the staple on the back of the canvas right there on their wall. So they can now buy with confidence right from your gallery.
Gavin, what is happening? This is amazing. This is so cool, because I can tell you, as I'm sure that you've heard from feedback as well, it's like when somebody asks, like, how big of a photo do I need? It's like, I've never been to your house. I have no idea how big that wall is. I would say a 16 by 20 looks good just about anywhere, but if you're going to put it on a giant wall, then a 16 by 20 is actually a very small portion of that entire wall. So for them to be able to see the size for canvases, now this may be a very tech related question. Will you be able to turn it on and off for certain items, or is it all items?
It's available for just prints and canvases right now, because it's a, believe it or not, it's a ton of work to build out these augmented reality previews and make sure even that the cropping that they choose for that canvas, that the right amount is wrapped around the side and you reflect that and all those types of things. So it's available for prints and for canvases, but we really hope that we can expand that. If it's received well and people are loving it, it's helping them sell more, then we can expand that to other products as well.
Major bombs dropped today by Gavin. This is so cool. This is so cool. Well, then I want to turn the tables on you, because you love to talk to other photographers. You love to talk to the industry and find out what it is that photographers need. But as I was saying earlier, CloudSpot is really all about, I feel like, doing things that have never been done before to help out photographers, from the integration with Plan and doing social media scheduling, and even, which you just breezed over like it was no big deal, the ability for clients to be able to build their own albums, and grandma proof downloads as well. I want to know, what is your favorite feature of CloudSpot?
Oh man, I feel like it changes all the time. I would say it's something that when I was doing a demo a couple of years ago, a photographer stopped me cold in tracks and said, okay, that thing that you just talked about, that's a game changer. And you need to include it in every single demo that you will ever do, and make sure that you tell every photographer this exists. Because it's one of those things where like you just kind of build in there, you're like, oh yeah, like cool, that's a thing. Don't get me wrong. Our store is amazing. The things that people can sell, the social media, I'm stoked on all of that. But there's something that we built in even from day one that I still feel is underutilized by our users. And it goes back to the marketing. It goes back to hooking up your vendors. It goes back to helping your branded experience be upfront and center, yet still grandma proof, with love. And that's the ability to send, because we always know, like, especially with vendors, like when they ask for like, hey, can you show me the image from so-and-so's wedding? We just dump on them like the 1,300 images from the gallery that we gave the client. And like, we say, hey, you clearly have nothing better to do. Why don't you go through all my photos and get the things that you need, right? You're not winning any brownie points with them when you do that. So, and this was from the get-go, one of the things I'm like, we are going to do this in CloudSpot. And that's the ability just on your back end from like your collection itself, not even in the gallery, to be able to select one or multiple images from any folder, from any collection, and send an instant download link to just those photos. And it's still in a beautifully branded, email with, templated text that you can save and reuse and make sure they give you credit. But right there in that first email is just a download button. That's it. It's not a gallery, go do this, go spend all this work. It's here's the exact photos that you need at the exact size that I want you to have it, with or without a watermark. And all you have to do is tap on it and get what you need in order to be successful with my photos in your own business. And it takes you 20 seconds on your side as a photographer, but yet makes a world of difference to anybody that you're sharing those with, and is a game changer.
That is, I'll admit, when I first signed up for CloudSpot and saw the ability not only to create a specific gallery just for vendors, as you said, so that I don't have to send them a folder of 1,300 images, in which we as photographers feel like we're doing a great thing here. We're like, yeah, we're helping out this vendor. Like, we're going to give them all of these images for them to look over. But you're right, the amount of time that it takes to go through, especially for somebody like a florist, because you never know. There's flowers everywhere on a wedding day. Anyway, when I saw that ability, and then to be able to include a download link in that email, I felt the same way. Like, this is just such a simple idea, but as whoever that one photographer was, like, it is a game changer. And I've noticed a lot of vendors on my end just saying, hey, thank you so much, instead of, again, asking those questions, even though it's grandma proof downloads. How do we get this? How do we choose multiple photos? How, X, Y, and Z. And then once again, we have to play customer support. You just give them that download link and you say, here you go, enjoy. And then that's it. And then they love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thanks for letting me make good on my promise to that photographer. Still talking about it today. Absolutely.
Gavin, I feel like I'm still in awe thinking about all the new things coming. I'm very excited, but I want to ask one more question for you, which is, well, no, I take that back. I'm gonna give the floor to you. Is there anything that I didn't ask you today that you want to make sure that new photographers know going forward into 2022 about being a working photographer, about delivering a wonderful client experience, about anything that CloudSpot stands for?
Just taking a few steps back beyond any service, beyond any tool or anything like that, because, people can go and they can create a free account with us. They get 10 gigs for free. They can experience all of those, right? Like, they can discover that along the way. But, I think so many, especially just thinking back to our first early days, I was just overwhelmed, intimidated, and just didn't quite know what to do on any given day, right? I would say, if you ever step up to your desk and you feel like you're overwhelmed, it really just translates into we're lacking clarity, right? Lacking clarity on what our mission, on what our focus, and what we know is what we need to get done in our business that particular day. And so just to any photographer who's working to grow their business, which is all of us, right? But especially if you're in your early days, beginner photography podcast, if you're in the beginning stages of starting your business and wanting to take it from a side hustle to a full-time gig, or wanting to make it just an even more fully fledged and profitable side hustle, which is amazing. And I would say there are 6 to 7 times more people who fit into that category than full-on pros. So like, by no means is full-on pro the all to end all. There is more paths to success than that. I would say, show up every day and figure out, get your clarity in terms of what am I working on today and why, right? Not just because I feel like I need to do this, so I'm just going to do it, but why? Reverse engineering that success of either the people that you look up to, the brands that you want to emulate, or the type of creative that you want to be and the type of client that you want to attract. So focus in on that clarity, and then just give yourself the permission to make small incremental improvements every single day. You do not have to tackle it all in a week. You don't have to tackle it all in a month. You don't have to tackle it all in a year. Step up with clarity and just get it done bit by bit by bit. And if you show up consistently, you're already 99% better than anybody else who's in your same spot.
Gavin, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was wonderful right there. Before I let you go, I know that listeners are going to be interested in CloudSpot. So can you tell them where to find out more about CloudSpot online?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to cloudspot.io. You can check everything out. You can create a free account. We give you 10 gigs for free. You can start delivering your galleries. If that intimidation factor is there, like there usually is with any new platform that you're trying to adopt in your business, our team offers completely free one-on-one demo calls and setups. Like you and I did that, Raymond, when you
Yes.
first were checking things out. We say, please use and abuse that with our team, because we are here to help anyone feel like, hey, this is the best tool for my business. There are a lot of great tools out there, but our goal is that CloudSpot is going to be the best one for you. And however we can help you discover that and get you set up your store or deliver your first gallery, we are happy to help in any way that we can.
Are you kidding me? Oh, man. I love chatting with Gavin. Seriously, I mean, to hear how his mind works and constantly trying to figure out, how can we provide more to photographers? How can we help them out to achieve their goals, make more money, save more time? The way that his brain works, really, I find inspiring. So I loved this chat with Gavin. I hope that you did as well. My biggest takeaway here was, and this may seem like a small one, but it's when Gavin shared those most popular print orders, 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s. When I first started in photography, I wanted to offer everything under the sun that I could get my hands on, from mouse pads, coffee cups, blankets, whatever it is, because I thought that made me look more professional, that had access to be able to do these things for my clients that, most people weren't able to. And that would mean things like not only prints, canvases, albums, but also, metal prints, glass prints. And, when we give our clients a lot of choices, that can be overwhelming, and overwhelm kills sales. So I know that, just hearing firsthand 4x6s, 5x7s, 8x10s are the most popular prints, I'm going to put those forward in my business to ensure that I give everybody every opportunity to buy those. And that may mean, streamlining what it is that I offer to, again, avoid overwhelm. And plus, if a client really wants something, glass print, metal print, something like that, they will ask for it. They will. So if you want to check out CloudSpot, they have the best free forever plan of all of the gallery services with 10 gigabytes of free storage. That is enough to shoot and deliver almost 15 weddings. And you can even have your store up and generate an income off of that, all from their free account. Yeah, so you literally have no excuse not to sign up. So to do so and grab your free CloudSpot account, head over to Deliver Photos right now to sign up. That is it for this week. I would love to hear your biggest takeaway from this interview with Gavin Wade. Feel free to share it in the Beginner Photography Podcast Facebook community. You can, just search Facebook if you're not a part of it already, or click the link on the homepage at beginnerphotographypodcast.com. So again, that is it for this week. Remember, the more that you shoot today, the better you will be tomorrow. That's it. Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to the Beginner Photography Podcast. If you enjoy the show, consider leaving a review in iTunes. Keep shooting, and we'll see you next week.